What's up, peeps? Welcome to Season 4, Episode 2 of the Nerd Alert Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Chico himself. Yes, that's me. Don't have to be confused with Mr. Robot, but you could be. I don't know. Today we're talking the movie that everyone's talking about right now, the greatness that is Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, and yes. Also, caught up on some shows that just finally ended their runs. That's The Acolyte on Disney+. My Adventures with Superman on HBO Max, and The Boys, along with some news. It is San Diego Comic-Con weekend, so the news are plenty. So much news. So much huge news. Let's get into it. I'll give you one guess as to what the fuck we're about to talk about. Can you guess? Can you? No? Still no? Deadpool and Wolverine, motherfuckers. Okay, so I've given some time to resonate, just kind of process and gestate and whatever with the past few days. So first chance I got on Thursday, and I fucking loved it. Before we go forward, just so you know, spoilers are ahead of you. So if you don't want to hear anything, dip the fuck out right now, like now. 3, get out. All right, so Deadpool Wolverine picks up a few years after Deadpool 2. All right. Wade's gone and fixed the timeline so that Vanessa never dies. But, of course, there are some implications, right? You know what? Let's get into the synopsis, right? So he's essentially trying to save his timeline, which is now at risk because of what he's done. TVA is needing to wipe that universe clear because Logan, as we know in the movie, has perished. He was an anchor point, and the way it works in the timeline for the MCU, doesn't matter where you're at, it trickles backwards. So Logan died in the future and is circling back, and is going to kill his universe. Wade, aka Deadpool, has a chance to move forward and be the hero he always wanted to be by joining the MCU timeline. But in doing so, everybody from his current timeline and universe dies. That's a big no-no for him. So he needs to find his anchor point, find a Wolverine to fill in that void. And shit ensues from there, right? Let's start from the scratch. Opening scene is him applying for the Avengers, has a great conversation with Happy Hogan. Lots of Easter eggs here. The main one, if you noticed, and if you didn't, you're about to find out. If you look in the corner of his office, there's an Iron Man helmet. It's the same Iron Man helmet that the kid wore in Iron Man 2, which was always rumored to be a young Peter Parker. No one verified it. But here's what we have. It's covering up the picture of Tony and Peter, because Peter doesn't exist anymore, confirming in their own way that that was Peter. Boom. Mind blown, right? At the end of the day, they tell him, Happy tells him he's not ready for it. He's not the hero that they're looking for. He's not Avengers material. This sends him spiraling down a depressive state. He stops wearing the suit. Vanessa breaks up with him because of it. He starts selling cars with Peter, and that's where he's at when the TVA picks him up as he's celebrating his birthday with our fan favorites from the previous movies. Dopinder, Yukio, Blind Al, Vanessa, Colossus, the whole jazz. Even Shatterstar. Vanisher might be in there, but we don't know, right? He could be in there. We get the funny scene with the TVA that we saw in the commercials. He gets plucked, and he's over there. He talks to Mr. Paradox, who is one of the two main villains in this movie. They gear him up with a new MCU suit, which is basically the same suit, but brighter. There's even a really cool scene in which Wade calls out one of the guys at the TVA, almost like spot on to RDJ in Avengers 1 when he spots the guy playing Galaga. And then, as I mentioned, Wade goes on his mission to find the Wolverine to fill in his void. First stop is the actual Logan. He goes to the gravesite because of his healing factor. He's like, yeah, he's got to be regenerated, probably alive and suffocating under there. Nope, he's dead as a doornail. Full-on corpse. Digs up the body. TVA attacks him. Great fucking action scene. And this is our intro. Probably the best of the three, to be quite honest, and they're always spectacular. This one in particular goes to the beat of Bye Bye Bye. And if you don't know, you're about to know. That was a hilarious callback to X-Men 2. There's a scene where Wolverine is leaving the mansion after it's been invaded with all the kids, Rogue, Pyro, who makes a return, and Iceman. Pyro turns on the radio, and instead seeks Bye Bye Bye. And Wolverine cringes, turns it off immediately. That was hilarious. That's why it was in there. And if you didn't know, like I said, now you know. But great little dance sequence, a choreographed screen as he's fighting his way through the TVA using Logan's bodies and his claws at one point in a really cool spot. And yeah, he takes us into the traditional flashback of how he got there. But the fun starts from there as he's jumping through alternate universes trying to find a Logan that can fill his void. We get really, really cool cameos. We get different versions of our boy Logan, a hilarious comic accurate Wolverine who's supposed to be 5'3" and stocky, which is Hugh's only downfall, right? He's too big of a dude. But fuck it, that's what we're used to now. Anyway, we'll get back to that here in a little bit. So cool ass fucking cameos that versions of them that we see. Age of Apocalypse, personally one of my absolute favorite versions of the X-Men, and it's fucking spot on. We also get a brown suit, which, in my opinion, looked better than the yellow suit. Like, it looked fucking great. It looked so badass. I really wish they would have brought it back around at some point in the movie. As he is about to fight the Hulk, that's our closest nerdgasm that we can have to that moment for now, hopefully not forever. I was kind of hoping it was going to be the Norton Incredible Hulk version, because that's my favorite. Fuck what you heard. Like, I've said it since day one. Ruffalo was alright, but Ed Norton killed it. His Hulk was superior to any of the shit that we saw in the MCU. That's facts. That's 100% facts. We also get Patch, which was rumored to be Daniel Radcliffe. Unfortunately, was not. It was still Hugh Jackman. We had also a iconic Logan on the X Crucifix, which is a iconic cover to Uncanny X-Men. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Failure on my part. As well as rumored but never really confirmed or remotely thought to be confirmed, Calverine, which is Henry Cavill as Logan. And cool little tidbit there. He even does his little fucking charged up punches that we saw in Mission Impossible as he pops out his claws and fucking knocks Wolverine into another universe where we get our Logan, who at his universe's loser hero, basically. He has Wolverine much to what he usually does is go on side missions and go about his business. He does this on one occasion, and the mansion is infiltrated, and the X-Men are killed by humans. Loses the shit, kills the people responsible, and kills a lot of innocents, which blacklists the X-Men, mutants, and him, and he's just a complete failure in everyone's eyes. Bummer, right? But we end up with that one. He takes him back to the TVA. TVA tells Wade that he didn't even pick a hero version of Logan. This is a loser version. Go through the same scenario where they're telling him he ain't shit. They're still going to scrub it. The Mr. Paradox has a master plan that no one's aware of. He's got a time bomb. He's just going to obliterate things, and so that the one sacred timeline exists and only it exists. It's a big no-no. So Deadpool and Wolverine take, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but the portal, they end up in the Void. The Void is where everything falls through. We saw it in Loki season 1, along with Alioth, who does make an appearance here as well. And here's where our fun cameos start dropping in as they break into one of many fight sequences. All their fights are amazing. Their chemistry is amazing. The comedy banter is amazing. There's, we get Johnny Storm. Yeah, Chris Evans comes back, but not as who you thought. He comes back as Johnny in an incredible version of Johnny Storm. Just unhinged. Wade's all ready for him to drop the line because he's all in tattered clothing. You think it's his cap. He's like, Avengers? Nah, flame on. And then our audience lost their shit when that happened, much like the other audiences. We find out Cassandra Nova is running shit in there. She's got her own group of villains that are running shit. We meet Sabretooth, Tyler Mane, the OG version. Finally, we're about to get a showdown between Wolverine and Sabretooth. Doesn't last long. He chops his head off almost immediately, and there goes that scene, right? We get cameos from all variants of Azazel, Lady Deathstrike, Juggernaut, Toad. Again, Pyro's still there. Cameos galore. Nice pool. And then the biggest cameos of them all, the others, are Resistance fighters that Johnny was a part of, but no longer because now he did. And that was a very funny part we'll get to later. Blade shows up. Fucking Wesley fucking Snipes reminding us that there's only one Blade and everyone or will be one Blade. And it's really cool because if you didn't know, Ryan Reynolds had his proto Deadpool persona in Blade Trinity. Go back and watch it. You can see the early stages of that personality come through. They didn't get along in that movie. It's well documented that Wesley Snipes didn't click with him or much of the other cast, specifically Ryan Reynolds. They had beef forever. They squashed the beef, and they even make an in-joke in the movie about it. And he delivers his famous line, "Motherfuckers are always trying to skate uphill." Still, we get Elektra. We get a comic-accurate Gambit. Who would have thought Channing Tatum would kill it as Remy LeBeau? Like who? Nobody. Spot on costume, spot on outfit. Only problem with it is he looked like he didn't fit in it. Like it looked too snug-ish. Just that's the only thing I got off of it. But otherwise, like personally, one other thing. Why the fuck can't you just make his eyes black and red like it's supposed to? I don't get it. That was my big issue with the original Gambit in Origins as well. He was really good as well. Why not give him his fucking eyes? Let's do it. I mean, it's right there. The money's there. You could have done it. But the jokes were great. You know, him commenting on his movie never happening, that he only exists in the board because of so. The Cajun accent, all of it was spot on. Like, it was much better than I could have ever hoped for. Because, I'll be honest, I was like, Channing Tatum, Gambit? Nah, that's not going to be all right. And then X-23 walks in. Emotional moment for me. Like, that just tugs on the heartstrings when you think about Logan and those scenes with their final scenes together. And just them growing up together, right? I just wish they wouldn't have shown it in the trailer and saved her for the movie. I would have had bigger impact, but it is what it is. Still impactful. She's there to, of course, remind Logan of who he was, who he's meant to be, which reinvigorates him. He comes back to put up a fight, and we get our others versus the Nova Force, and then we get another whole sequence with fucking Wade and Logan fighting the Deadpool Corps. Real funny scenes there. Like, he falls in love with Dogpool off the bat, sees Dogpool, he butts heads with the Corps. But one of the funny scenes is whenever he's got Nice Pool's body and they're shooting him up, like, they don't fucking care, they're shooting him. But as soon as Logan's walking across with Dogpool, everyone just stops. And he's just got this look on his face and so smug, like, just, okay. I don't know, just the tone of it all is hilarious. But cool fight sequence there. Very famous voiceovers for a lot of our Deadpool variants. Lady Pool is, in fact, the lovely Mrs. Wilson, Mrs. Reynolds, Blake Lively herself. You can tell from the body. Like, it's obvious in the voice. So it wasn't Taylor as everybody thought it might be. In fact, she doesn't even make her cameo that everybody suspected she was going to do. And you know what? She didn't want you. You gaslit us. Like, you gaslit us, which worked in very fortuitous ways for the movie, because we were waiting for it. It never happened. I personally was hoping she was going to pop in as Dazzler. I thought it would have been cool. I'm a Swiftie. I don't give a fuck. I would have loved to have seen that. But yeah, so many famous voices. Matthew McConaughey, Blake and Ryan's kids are there as voices. And then we have our final battle, our third act, and it's actually a great third act. The boys save the day against Cassandra Nova and Mr. Paradox. Wolverine ends up staying in his universe. So there's that. Overall, a fun-ass movie. I think, like I said, all the action's there, all the humor's there. The plot's thin, and it drags in some parts, and I think that's probably its only downfall. If you're a fanboy, it's a 10 out of 10. If you are a moviegoer, probably an 8 out of 10. There's so many Easter eggs that are comic specific that you need to know in order to really understand But on the flip side, also, if you don't know, it might intrigue you to go look it up. So kind of works that way as well. Um, a lot of emotional moments. There's one in the van with Wade and Logan where Logan just puts Wade on his ass and just gives him a reality check and actually shuts him up for the first time. And then a huge fight inside, hilarious fight, by the way, inside that van happens. Um, but yeah, there's so many emotional moments. All in all, it's a great love letter to the Fox universe and the Sony universe. All these movies that started it all. Without Blade, there would be no MCU. At that point, Marvel was bankrupt and had no money. That movie brought in revenue, and they were able to launch some movies. Then we have our Fantastic Four, our Spider-Man movies. All of these gave birth to the MCU. Without them, there would be none. And they make sure that this is a way of honoring those movies, as well as giving our characters proper endings. There were supposed to be follow-up movies that never happened, and this closes those chapters, as well as Gambit. He never got his movie, but now he's existed. There's even a great sequence at the very end of the movie within the credits where we get behind the scenes clips, and it's just a beautiful way to say goodbye and thank you to the Fox and Sony universe as they are now merged with the MCU. Overall, like I said, fantastic fucking fun movie. You cannot hate this movie. You really can't. It's so much fucking fun, start to finish. Laughs like no other. Probably, I can't say it's right near the Deadpool one. The Deadpool one's just here, but it's right below it. Like the humor, the rapport between Jackman and Reynolds is uncanny. Yes, I said uncanny. You can just tell by the marketing, which they went crazy with on the marketing, from Hot Ones to the Fallon to Jimmy Kimmel Live, and anything and everything in between. Hot Ones in particular, watch that, as well as Gordon Ramsay Scrambled if you haven't. So much fun. Fucking hilarious. But you can see that they really have love for each other, and it shows and their characters, and it really shows in here. So, like I said, there's a lot of emotion behind the movie. Go watch it if you can, as soon as possible. And honestly, if you went through this whole video and haven't watched it, shame on you, because I warned you. Warned you. That shit's not on me. I watched it on Cinemark XD, and that was a great experience. I highly recommend that theater. Fucking love it. Yeah, man, it's the biggest downfall for me with this was it had no implications, like huge implications. I still prefer it over No Way Home, because No Way Home is also a fan service film, and then we got our other Spider-Man in there, as well as some old school villains. This one just was an overall better movie, but it had no future impacts other than Wolverine staying around for the foreseeable future. I was hoping that they'd pass a baton, or at least make X-23 the next Wolverine, where she donned on a costume, or showed a hard launch to the X universe. The mutants are here, and I thought this was going to be the just kicking the fucking door open and introducing us to the X-Men, and it didn't. And I mean, they're mentioned, but not the new X-Men that were. It just didn't have that impact, and I wish it would have. But that's it. I mean, really, that and a small plot. Thin plot, only bad sides. I mean, but if you're looking for entertainment and fun, you're going to get it. You're promised to get that. Promise. Believe me. I'm going to go watch it again, and I'm probably going to touch myself. Not going to lie. There's no probably to it. I'm going to do it. And I'm probably going to wear that mask. Where's my mask? Oh. Judge joy, if you will. And now for the news. So much news going on right now because of San Diego Comic-Con. We're just going to stick to the big items. The biggest item right now that was announced was the Russo brothers coming back to direct Avengers 5 and 6. That's Avengers 6, which is Secret Wars, and Avengers 5, which has now been retitled as Doomsday. No longer the King Dynasty. And who's playing Doctor Doom? None other than RDJ. Robert Downey Jr. is back. Now, I always assumed he was going to come back, or thought he was going to come back, or hoped that he was going to come back as Ironheart's AI, her Jarvis. I felt like that was most fitting. Probably asked the least out of him to do so. The Doctor Doom angle catches me by surprise. I'm not going to lie. Initially, I was super hyped about it and kind of just went ape shit. But I've had some time to think about it. I don't know if this is the smartest move, to be quite honest. Now I'm kind of backpedaling on that idea. I love RDJ. But was he the right move for Doctor Doom? I feel like there's so many other actors out there that could have done so much better. And I hope it's not for the sake of just a cash grab and pulling on our emotions, which I'm sure it is. Like I can see where it can be played out in a cool way, or it's an evil variant. There's a couple of stories where there's an Iron Man or Victor Von Doom, Iron Doctor Doom analog. Like there's stories around this, but on the film basis, like using him, and that's going to be weird. And I'm sure they're going to use the face to tug on our heroes, like, oh my God, Tony, and that'll kind of spark something in them. But I still think if we had gotten, um, other people, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, and it's pissing me off. I thought Alex Xander Skarsgård would be a good version, but there's another one that's even better. He is Sir Jamie Lannister, Nikolaj Costo Waldau. I just know him as Jamie Lannister. That's why I was struggling over here trying to figure out his name. He would have been great as Doctor Doom. Like, just let him be his own thing. I don't know. I'm hoping and I'm praying they can pull this off in a respectful manner. I know they probably will, but still, it's a conflicting subject for me and so many others. Either way, he's back. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. Um, we also got some first footage at Fantastic Four, a little bit of a gap, behind the scene. Or they haven't started filming yet, so I'm sure they put this whole little package together specifically for the San Diego Comic Con. But got a little backstory and '60s vibe regarding the cast as they just got together. A glimpse of Galactus. We also got some clips of Brave New World, Thunderbolts. Hell, even Hellboy got a little bit of love at San Diego Comic Con. On the DC side, got some trailers for Creature Commandos. DC got a new logo. We have some more footage regarding Penguin and where it stands within the Batman world. It's happening immediately after the Batman. It leads directly into the Batman 2. Um, and I'm pretty sure that's probably the biggest news that we got out of that. On the DC side, also, we will have a couple additions to the My Adventures with Superman cartoon. Hank Henshaw. I don't know, actually. Let me take that back. I don't know if it's Hank Henshaw, but Cyborg Superman's coming. So Superboy. Wonder what they're going to do with that one. He looks pretty on par from what the photos and imagery that they showed. Cape Crusader, the animated feature, is going to have a female penguin voiced by Mimi Driver, which is cool. Invincible was greenlit for a season 4, and Mark's got a new costume, which is cool. Aside from that, we've got, what we talked about already. Wolverine and Deadpool are just breaking bank left and right in the theater, which is awesome. They're reinvigorating that need and love to go back to theaters, which I think we've started to lose, and kind of sparking things for the MCU. Hopefully, this leads in a good direction, regardless of what you're feeling with RDJ. I hope it's in the right direction. Um, in comic world, this month was a good month for books. We've got some great issues that started up. Spider-Man Reign is off to a kickstart. It's a highly recommend. Ultimates have been just fantastic. Ultimates issue 2 was this month. Another high recommendation is Give Fury, which is from Garth Ennis. His runs on The Punisher have been awesome. Absolute Power started up, which is going to spearhead into the reboot, the Ultimate Universe version of the DC world. So Absolute Comics will have Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Green Lantern. Those have all been greenlit, and pictures have shown at San Diego Comic Con. Transformers, always a plus. The Energon universe is just kicking ass. I'm not gonna lie. Transformers is fucking great. Destro is the limited series that's going on right now. Scarlet's another one. These are both leading straight into G.I. Joe, which is soon to start. One of my favorites recently, Ain't No Grave from Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. Great fucking crazy sci-fi fucking western. This miniseries is a plus, and let's kick it back to the OGs. Witchblade just rebooted. Issue 1 was great. The reimagining of Witchblade is off to a good start, not gonna lie. It's got the old vibes, but definitely reinvigorated. We've got a lot of stuff in store for us coming up here. The comic world is on fire right now between animation, TV, and books, and I'm here for it. Till next time. Appreciate you. The Boys season 4 has finished, right? And what a season! Not the best, but what a season. This show does so well in capturing just such satire on superhero movies and the superhero world in general. Like so many jabs at DC and Marvel throughout the season. It's ridiculous, but they're on point. They're pretty funny. The satire is great. The dark humor is on point. The action, crazy good. This season picks up right after season 3. We get a little bit more of a dive into the corruption and all the shady shit that's going on with Vought. Homelander is becoming more and more unhinged. He's doing his best to corrupt Ryan. Butcher is deteriorating and just going off the rails, to be quite honest. Along with hallucinating like crazy, which was a really cool thing throughout this season. He was hallucinating and seeing his dead ex, but also he was talking to Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character Kessler throughout the series. And I caught on pretty early on that it was a figment of his imagination because nobody else was interacting with him. And given what he was already hallucinating with the ex-wife, I was like, that's got to be hallucination. Guess what? It was. It was totally hallucinating. That was his good and evil personas. Who's going to win? Unfortunately, we both know. So yeah, we've got that going on. Homelander's doing his best to take over the world. A lot of comparisons to the right now. Between Firecracker and Marjorie Green, whatever the fuck her name is, as well as Trump and Homelander. Like, there's a lot of comparisons there. And don't get me wrong, there's tons of shit that's thrown at the right, and there's still some stuff that's thrown to the left. But it's just too easy. Let's be honest. It's too fucking easy. Can't make shit up that's going on right now. The team itself is doing its best to keep things together, make sure Homelander doesn't take control. Homelander now has a new accomplice of genius named Sage, who is just outlining his complete takeover. A-Train is on his way of defecting. And we get a lot into backstory regarding Frenchie and Kimiko, right? Kimiko. I think I'm losing it. Yeah, so we get some backstories on them. Great action scenes, great fight scenes that happen throughout the season. Even Starlight kicks some ass, and she shows some ass as well. That was a good plot twist when she is taken over by a shapeshifter, and they did shapeshifting in such a creative way on this season 2. I really enjoy anytime Homelander is on screen because you fucking hate him, but you also love him at the same time. The acting through Anthony Starr is just great. You can see all these little ticks, just him unraveling before your eyes. And when he snaps, man, he fucking snaps. When he goes back to the lab and clears all these scientists that used to fuck with him when they're little, fuck nuts. Trying to convince the Deep to be a bigger badass than what he is. To the point where Deep kills his octopus. Like, that was his pussy. His octopussy. He fucking killed her. Oh, idiot. A-Train trying to be the hero he was meant to be, like he is. His conscience finally kicks in. That's cool to see. There's a really badass moment with Black Noir, very Superman-ish towards the end, where he's flying and everybody's like, what the fuck, you can fly? One of the best episodes and saddest was Huey and his dad, played by Simon Pegg, pretty much saying their last goodbyes. He's reunited with his mom this season, who left him when he was little. We get some backstory as to why she left. Unfortunately, it's on Huey's dad's deathbed. He gets some venom and just loses memory, loses all the shit, and we see him put like essentially put down, and it's just an emotional scene. Like it's very very touching. Yeah, the season's been great. Butcher as well is trying to sees that he needs to be a better man for Ryan if he's truly going to be a father figure or an influence for him. Unfortunately, towards the end, he loses that battle because they push a little too hard on the kid. They lose him, and he takes off. At this point, we don't know where he went, so he gives in to his bad side, Kessler, and just lets loose. At one point, killing our girl. Um, Newman. I don't know. I couldn't think of it. Newman. Um, yeah, he fucking tears her apart, like just straight up Juggernaut Deadpool style. Rips her in half. Um, yeah, the biggest downside is probably just episode 6, and that has a Spider-Man analog that's introduced. A lot of gratuitous things that are just even more too gratuitous for the show. Like it was too much. We did get some cool vampire sheep in one episode, which was a lot of fun. Not gonna lie. Uh, and we've got our series, our final season, are on the horizon. That's next season. So there's definitely gonna be a showdown between Butcher, Homelander, the boys, everybody at this point. Yeah, I hope that they pick up the pace with the action, or yeah, and pick up the storytelling. Storytelling was great here. Just needed just a little bit more. I really like the cast that was introduced, some newbies that were introduced, and the OGs, of course. But it was a great season. Not the best, but it was a great season. Really looking forward to what they do next. Season 5 should be a shit show, and they're going to go out with a bang now that we have, Genevieve wrapped up, but we also have some spin-offs. We have The Boys Mexico, as well as Vought Uprising, that shows the rise of Vought via Jensen Ackles, Soldier Boy, and Stormbreaker. So that'll be a cool watch. That was just announced. Yeah, man, The Boys has always been a good watch, and I'm glad that they're keeping the pace. My Adventures with Superman season 2 wrapped up on Adult Swim and HBO Max. I have been into the show since it premiered. Well, not gonna lie, a couple episodes had dropped before I actually started tuning in, but I was intrigued from the get go. Just hadn't watched it. It's a fun show. It's a great jump on for new viewers, for old viewers. Animation's awesome. The anime influence really works with the storyline. This season, we saw Brainiac introduced and try to do what he does, take over the world. But he was using Kara Zor-El, Supergirl, as his harbinger, basically. So we get a lot of that. We get a corrupt Superman this season. We are get some love between Jimmy and Kara. The relationship with Lois and Clark takes off and then takes a nosedive. And then, of course, they love each other, so they came back around. Um, yeah, Michael Emerson as Brainiac was a great addition. I don't think anybody else could have really voiced him the way he did. He did phenomenal. Um, we also had more time with Lex Luthor as he was developing his arch nemesis vibe. Amanda Waller, of course, is still sticking around. Still has Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. Had some allegiances flip. Livewire and Heatwave are now on Team Superman, which is cool to see. But just the interaction, the comedy with Jimmy and Clark and the stumbling, all go. Action sequence, full anime, full Super Saiyan, full blast. Like they were just on point. I loved all of it. Um, Whenever Superman gets corrupted by Brainiac and he gets a new black suit, looks fucking great, very intimidating. And then by the end, we get new upgraded suits. Great storytelling. Like they're not incredibly long seasons. How many episodes was it? I think we got 10 episodes for season 2, and they're 22-minute episodes. they're brief but fulfilling seasons. And all overall, it's just a great ride. I've been hyping this up. I feel like it's the animated parallel to Superman and Lois live action on CW, which I feel is phenomenal. The best iteration of it alive. This is so far a great iteration of it in animation form. Season 3 was greenlit, of course, and from what we saw at San Diego Comic Con, looks like we're going to get Cyborg Superman, some Zod, a Bull Lex Luthor's on the horizon. So a lot of cool stuff. Looks like it's on its way. But if you're looking for some good watch with a lot of fun from the DC world, check this out. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. The Acolyte on Disney Plus. So much controversy. It's controversy, but how do they say it in the good old Brits? Controversy. Anyways, I loved it. I thought it was a great show. It was some new lore, nothing that was hanging on the balance of prior series or storylines, nothing from the main storyline. It was its own thing, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It did add to lore, but wasn't reliant on it. And I think that's where a lot of people were all like hung up on that shit because, I mean, yeah, fuck it. But anyways, synopsis is a couple of Jedi Masters are getting murked left and right. A Jedi Master goes back to, it looks like it's the Padawan of an old Jedi Master, but in fact it is not. It is her long dead twin sister that's committing these murders. So we're finding out why she's committing these murders, why she's been thought dead for this long. Like there's a huge conspiracy and cover up that's going through this. The show got shit on because it had a slow burn, and it did have a slow burn, but through 8 episodes, it paid off. Like the cast was great. Lee Jung Jae as a Jedi Master and Amanda Stenberg as his Padawan, also playing. So his Padawan is Osha, and the evil twin is May. She plays both parts, and this takes place about 100 years before the Phantom Menace. So essentially, these Jedis are on a journey years before, and they come across a planet where there are some Dark Force witches that have taken refuge there. These witches are all women. Let me see what their names were. Where's my plot? Sorry, folks. I thought I had this shit ready, but I did not. Anyways, the witches are living there or whatever. The Jedi Master that I was referring to earlier, Soul, fucking kicks ass in the show, feels the Force. He finds these twins, he finds this coven, but there's something strange about these twins, so they go to investigate. Now, in this time, these twins are being forged to be the new, like, masters within that witch coven. Only one wants to pursue, the other one doesn't. So there's some antagonism that generates from there. And then the Jedis go to confront them. A fight happens. Initially, it looks like the May starts a fire that kills everybody. That's what everybody is led to believe because that's what the Jedis tell the council and just kind of spread that word. It's not the case. She started the fire, but one of her mothers caused the remaining murders and deaths, and they all disappeared. They have this cool ability to vanish, as well as corrupt, get into your soul and pull out the darkness out of it. There were some really cool scenarios with that. We also meet Kamir, who is May's friend, who's got the hookup and kind of the point of contact for her master, who is unrevealed. We only know him as the stranger, but he's the one that taught her in the ways of the Force, the Dark Force. And at that. He seems interesting, kind of aloof, but turns out he's not who he said he was. He actually is the master. You kind of see it coming, but you kind of don't. The stranger is pretty fucking dope, man. The fight scenes with him and Soul are incredible. He wipes out a whole Jedi force, including Daphne Keen's character. We don't know who his lord is, but we do get a cameo of Darth Plagueis. So could he be his master? Could he be just investigating with the Dark Force? We don't really know. We only know towards the end that he at one point was a Padawan, and he was taught by which Jedi Master was she? No. Yet. Bernestra. That's right, Bernestra. She is a Jedi, senior member of the Jedi Order, and it's so very alluded but not confirmed that she was his former master. Again, I like the story. I like the way it went. There's an interesting twist at the end where May and Osha are determined not to be twins, but they're actually the same person. So they were, in fact, created by the Force. They have a name for it. So unprepared for this shit, aren't I? A vergence in the Force. This is also the first instance, technically, or maybe one of, that happens where a being is completely created out of the Force. The other one is our world famous Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. So that's one of the seedlings that goes into the future lore. But yeah, they swap spots. May goes to the good, Osha to the bad. She ends up becoming the stranger's Padawan, acolyte, whatever you want to call him, his protege. May, on the other side, goes to stays with the Jedi's, but her memories cleared out and wiped at Osha's at Osha's request. She's wiped out. But we get some cool scenes. Like we even get a scene with Soul and the stranger duke it out, lightsabers and all. And May is holding a lightsaber, and the Dark Force bleeds into the Kyber crystal, and it turns into a red saber. That was really cool to see visually. And then Soul unfortunately perishes, which sucks because he was a great character. I would have loved to see him in the future seasons. But all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I got a kick out of the storyline. I got the great action scenes, beautifully shot, great cast. I recommend it. Yeah, man, watching that shit was freaking awesome. I did mention that Osha kills Soul, right? And that's when the Kyber crystal turned. If not, that's where that was a turning point. Yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think. But yeah, I recommend watching it. Once again, peeps, I appreciate you tuning in and checking out the podcast. It is a work in progress, so any and all feedback is always appreciated. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe. All the norms to help me spread my wings and fly. And also, swag still available. The link's in the bio. But get yourself one of these badass shirts designed by Ma and support the show. See you next time. Appreciate you.